Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we are going to discuss Mercury Retrograde in Leo, which begins July 17th or 18th, depending on your time zone, and continues until August 11th. This particular Mercury Retrograde in Leo will start at 15 degrees of Leo in your chart as Mercury stations retrograde and travels back to 4 degrees of Leo. So you want to identify where you have 4 to 15 degrees of Leo, as this is where you'll experience the Mercury retrograde energies, which includes slowing down, reconsidering, reevaluating, adjusting your expectations, double checking details, facts, and communications, also expecting life changes to show up, such as those cancellations or delays, plans falling through, ideas not going anywhere, and redirects that can be temporarily confusing. We will be talking more about the themes of this particular Mercury retrograde in Leo, but those are some heads up messages to be aware of. Now, Mercury retrograde has an impact on our lives, specifically in the areas that Mercury rules. So this includes communications, teaching, learning, information exchange, your devices, emails, text messages, your calendar, scheduling, plans, transportation, such as more snafus, strikes, shutdowns, delays, power outages. Mercury is also what you do every day, how you go about your life in terms of what needs to be taken care of, the places you visit, and the people you interact with. Mercury is also connected to siblings, daily conversations, who you interact with and make small talk with, what you express and want to talk about. So all of this is the domain of Mercury. And when Mercury is retrograde, of course, the changes happen and we have to be willing to be more flexible, which can be a little bit tougher when Mercury is in Leo, because Leo is a fixed sign. So this means this particular Mercury retrograde in Leo, there's going to be changes, delays, and cancellations that could feel a little bit tougher to take. You could have a sense of more disappointment or frustration. There could be more anger since Mercury is in a fire sign. There could be a sense of, well, now what do? I was really counting on this. So do keep in mind that things aren't going to go as scheduled or as planned, and that the more we can open up to that, the more it'll be easier to adjust and pivot with the changes of Mercury retrograde in Leo. If you have planets or points between 4 to 15 degrees of Leo, this Mercury retrograde is working with you more personally. That means there's going to be more for you to reconsider, reassess, and be willing to change during these roughly 3.5 weeks of the retrograde cycle. When Mercury retrograde is on top of one of your natal planets, because it's more personal, it can be more chaotic and disruptive and take up more of your time. So again, this is your heads up that it will be working more personally with planets in Leo. Now, this Mercury retrograde in the fixed sign is also going to be felt by any planets or points in the other fixed signs. So the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. If you have planets or points in any of those signs between 4 to 15 degrees, this is your heads up that changes are going to happen, and it's going to be directly impacting what you want, what you desire, what you planned on, anything that you are creating or developing, where you feel a full ownership as well over something. So just note that even if that Mercury retrograde comes through and changes something that you were relying on, you thought it was a sure thing, stable and consistent, the Mercury retrograde is also going to tune us into other creative options and possibilities that we would not have otherwise otherwise known. So this would be a time to develop a fresh perspective, review what is in motion, and really look at, do I truly want this? Do I really want it, or have I just been going through the motions and I'm realizing this isn't even that important to me? It doesn't really matter. This is also a time to assess what is important, what gives me life, what excites me, what makes me feel alive, and is this it? And if it is it, then you'll stick with it, reconsider, rework it. But if not, you might have a change of desire, a change of heart. You might realize you don't really want to continue with this, and it sets you free. And that's one of the ways that Mercury retrograde benefits us, is that we have an opportunity to slow down, be more intentional, and really look at what is aligning for you and with you. Mercury is the fastest moving planet in our solar system, and it's connected with our thoughts, our minds, everything that we are taking in, thinking about, and considering, what we're saying or not saying, what we are processing and contemplating, and then being able to, again, bring it into a deeper place within us to check in. So look at this as an opportunity to deeply check in with what you are creating and involved in, and determine if it's aligned with your sense of self, your personal power, your heart, and if it resonates with your creative spirit. Mercury in Leo tends to be very strong, clear, self-assertive. This energy can be forceful, dramatic, empowering. It can also be grandiose, attention-seeking, over the top. And there could be some messages here around where you're ready to rein in something if it feels like it's become too much at some level of your being. Mercury retrograde is where we need to refine and do less. And there might be an awareness here around what has taken over or become over the top to the point that it's draining you or overwhelming. It's the perfect time to look at what you want to cut back and where you need to say no. So this is where people have a change of mind and they realize they're stretched too thin, too much on their plate, not really that interested. That's part of the turnarounds here of the Mercury retrograde energy. And this Mercury retrograde is actually quite interesting because Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo energies. And during parts of the retrograde phase, Venus is in Gemini, Mars is in Virgo, and the South Node is in Virgo. And so this Mercury retrograde is ruling over Venus, Mars, and the South Node, bringing your attention to where new choices are required that will take you further instead of holding you back in a previous cycle, pattern, or choice. So that's why I'm feeling this energy is quite strong, is that in addition to Mercury retrograde in Leo, because it's connecting to Venus, Mars, and the South Node, there's more coming up in other areas of our life it's all connected. It's like it's all being connected here to authentically connecting with what you want and seeing how changing your mind, changing a direction affects a few areas of life that are actually ready for a new choice as well. Because Venus in Gemini is adaptable, contemplative, and aware of the fact that there's many options that can be explored. Mars in Virgo, conjunct the South Node in Virgo, is ready to close out what is no longer working or paying off, where the energy drains you instead of inspires you, perhaps shows you what is too stressful, overworked, no longer satisfying, and your body is feeling it. Your body is sensing, this is not healthy for me. I'm ready for some new habits, some new changes here to come in. And I think this particular Mercury retrograde is going to ignite new inspiration around how to up-level and improve multiple areas of your life that ultimately pays off. These can also be the little details, the small particular parts of your world that you've wanted to make changes in. For example, maybe it's about a particular eating habit or adding in a certain vitamin or supplement, mineral. This could be saying, I need to work out an extra day a week, or I want to make this change that would give me more energy and also help me sleep more. So there's going to be little things to assess here that will put you on a healthier track, ideally. And the Mercury retrograde could also affirm that you're ready. Yes, I want to make this change. Yes, I'm ready to shift this area of my life. It's also a time to gather in more information and to be open to what you didn't know before. Mercury retrograde is a great time for research and revisiting information or facts. Mercury retrograde is also wonderful for catching up on what you've put to the back burner or what you've delayed. It's the span of time when you could feel like, all right, finally, I'm going to get this done and take care of it, not push it off anymore. Because Mercury retrograde is not the time to take on anything new. I'm sure you've heard that many times. It's not the time to sign contracts or make new agreements. Rather, it's the time to look at what is unfinished that needs to be taken care of. So allow this to be a period of time that works for you, that allows you to get caught up on matters that inspire you, that bring in more of that creative force and a desire to have a certain experience. And this will allow you to create it intentionally because of the slowdown. Now, as I tune into this energy more intuitively, I'm seeing it as very bright and colorful. There's a lot going on here that is spiraling and swirling around. And I feel that this Mercury retrograde is bringing your attention to new creations that you're going to feel invigorated around, meaning new parts of your life to approach with more color, more inspiration, more desire. I feel that this is a rather uplifting Mercury retrograde, and part of that is because Mercury makes only a few aspects to the other planets during this retrograde journey. And that means this Mercury is more on his own, understanding more of who he is right now. So I'm feeling this energy spiraling into the solar plexus, but I feel it opening up lots of colors and that it has a vibrancy to it that maybe you're going to feel internally. There could also be some big heart activations. Since Leo rules the heart and the solar plexus, there could be a sense of new parts of you are coming online and it's opening up new areas of your own creative force field that you didn't have time for previously. And I feel that's part of this Mercury only making a few aspects to other planets. So as Mercury stations retrograde at 15 degrees 34 minutes of Leo on July 17th and 18th, he is in a direct sextile to Venus in Gemini at 15 degrees. And this is a very talkative, interesting dynamic. Both are ready to share, exchange, discuss. There's social energy here. There could be a sense that your mind is very active with possibilities, but it's coming through rather effortlessly. This could also be a good idea, or rather two approaches, two good ideas, because Venus in Gemini is about the duality. So there's this choice or that choice. There's one option or a second option, and that could be something that you're thinking through during this particular Mercury retrograde, because this energy happens at the station retrograde. So two options could present themselves, and you don't want to give an immediate response when Mercury stations retrograde. Rather, you want to listen and understand what's the real message here. What is truly calling to me? What is inspiring me? What is getting me interested or chatty? And know that that is a time to work internally with whatever is coming up. Play with it. Have fun with it. Connect to the joy of it as maybe you're figuring out something here that the Mercury retrograde will continue to guide you through. Now, the second aspect that Mercury retrograde makes will be conjunct the Sun in Leo. This happens at the end of the month on July 31st at 8 degrees of Leo. So Mercury retrograde conjunct the Sun is when Mercury, the messenger, brings something back to the Sun And with the sun in its ruling sign of Leo, the sun has a lot of strength and dominance here. It is very powerful and active. So there could be a return to a message, thought, idea, possibility. And as Mercury retrograde is conjunct the sun, this is called the inferior conjunction. This is a time of deeper reflection. So this is Mercury bringing that communication back to your sense of self. And I'm seeing it as needing to align with authentic heart and authentic solar plexus energy. Is this something you want? Is this a true desire? Is this coming from a sincere, courageous, determined energy within yourself? Or has there been something that's been consuming your energy and time and you're realizing, I don't want this in my world. I don't want to invest in this. I don't want to be thinking about this. This is not something that I want to continue to pour myself into. And the energy of the heart is extra strong right now because of the fact that when Mercury retrograde is conjunct the sun, that is called the cazimi, which is in the heart of the sun. And here you have it occurring in Leo, which is about the heart. And there could be some big breakthroughs here, some big understandings that you arrive at because Mercury brings a message back that previously was moving too fast or you forgot or it got lost in the shuffle, and then the energy comes back into the heart, and there could be a blasting open in the heart space of something that is true for you. And again, it feels vibrant. It feels positive. It feels like it's meant to give you a new surge of life force as well as confidence and courage. But because it's Mercury retrograde, we're meant to sit with it, integrate it, allow it to beautifully reprogram you, and perhaps even bring a message to the heart. I'm seeing something land in the heart that gains light, that gains strength. This could even be a Mercury retrograde that supports the light body development in blasting out any density, fear, or heaviness that's been holding you down. Because the Leo energy wants to be energized. Leo is connected with sports, recreation, competition, wants to do the best, wants to be the best, has a desire to put that fiery energy in motion and demonstrate what you're good at. So that could be part of this too, is that there's a return here to a passion, an activity, a hobby, something that's uniquely you that you haven't had time for. And now you're saying yes to it and realizing I want to make time for this and I want it to be a part of my life. This particular Mercury retrograde conjunct the sun, again, at 8 degrees of Leo, is also going to bring something closer to your conscious awareness. So it could be brought closer to you physically. It could be brought closer to you energetically or mentally. But there's an intensification of a message and understanding in the Leo area of your chart where you have 8 degrees that is going to be quite magical, inspirational, and big. And so again, that is exact the end of July 31st. And after that, Mercury retrograde doesn't make any other direct aspects to other planets during the retrograde. So there's only 2 aspects here, not including the moon, since of course there will be interactions with the moon. But a less active Mercury retrograde means that we will be working more internally, processing more in our own spaces. And this could even mean it's less of a bumpy ride, that there are fewer snafus and less chaos because that Mercury retrograde is not wreaking havoc with numerous other planets. Now, of course, that's in the collective. Depending on your chart, this could be a bigger Mercury retrograde if you have planets or points between 4 and 15 degrees of the fixed signs, as I mentioned, as well as slowing down the energies of the fire signs and the air signs between 4 and 15 degrees in your chart. So planets or placements in the air signs and fire signs also are going to feel this more personally, but it's going to require that slower moving intention, where instead of just blasting off, saying yes, and doing all the things, this would be a time to slow it down, sit sit with something before responding, reassess and ensure it's really what you want, and give others the same time and space to do so as well. So getting back to the energy that I was seeing intuitively around this, I feel that there's going to be some exciting developments that come alive within us. That this will be an opportunity to look at what is spiraling up within you, what is exciting you and giving you more to play with and experience. And by the time Mercury stations direct on August 11th, you could have some beautiful breakthroughs and fresh options to follow because you trusted what that creative energy needed to move through. Now, the Mercury retrograde shadow starts June 30th and lasts until August 25th. And this is because of the time it takes Mercury to move back and forth across 4 to 15 degrees of Leo. So do keep in mind that as of June 30th, whatever started then will be part of what Mercury retrograde is reconfiguring, and that it might last until August 25th or so. So this Mercury retrograde could bring you into new creative understandings, a stronger sense of self, more that matters to you, that you want to focus on, develop, and create. There could be opportunities here to strengthen your confidence and to declare what you want next. So I do hope that this is overall a positive experience for you, that there are less of those typical Mercury retrograde experiences, and that you feel a strengthening occur as well. I will touch in on these energies on my Wednesday podcast, as always, which is when we discuss the weekly energies that we're moving through. But I hope this has provided you with a good understanding of how Mercury retrograde will be working with you personally again between 4 and 15 degrees of Leo in your chart. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to continuing our astrological conversation every Monday and Wednesday. Have a beautiful day ahead, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.